In Norse mythology, Freya was burned by the Aesir gods. But why? To answer this question, let us take a deep dive into the world of Norse mythology. In Norse mythology, gods and goddesses usually belong to one of two tribes, the Aesir and the Vanir. Throughout most of the Norse tales, deities from the two tribes get along fairly easily, and it's hard to pin down firm distinctions between the two groups, but there was a time when that wasn't the case. It all starts with the Vanir goddess Freya, who was always the foremost practitioner of the art of satyr, the most terribly powerful kind of magic. Like historical satyr practitioners, she wandered from town to town plying her craft for hire. Under the name Eidir, she eventually came to Asgard, the home of the Aesir. The Aesir gods were quite taken by her powers and jealously sought her services, but soon they realized that their values of honor, loyalty, and obedience to the law were being pushed aside by their selfish desire they sought to fulfill with the witch's magic. Blaming Freya for their own shortcomings, the Aesir called her Golveig, meaning gold greed, and attempted to murder her. 3 times they tried to burn her, and 3 times she was reborn from the ashes. Because of this, the Aesir and Vanir came to hate and fear one another, and these hostilities erupted into war. The Aesir fought by the rules of plain combat, with weapons and brute force, while the Vanir used the subtler means of magic. The war went on for a long time, with both sides gaining the upper hand by turns. Njord and his children seem to have lived more or less in peace in Asgard. Unfortunately, the same can't be said of Honir and Mimir in Vanaheim. The Vanir immediately saw that Honir was seemingly able to deliver incomparably wise advice on any problem, but they failed to notice that this was only when he had Mimir in his company. Honir was actually a rather slow-witted simpleton who was at a loss for words when Mimir wasn't available to counsel him. After Honir responded to the Vanir's entreaties with the unhelpful, "Let others decide," one too many times, the Vanir thought they had been cheated in the hostage exchange. They beheaded Mimir and sent the severed head back to Asgard, where the distraught Odin chanted magic poems over the head and embalmed it in herbs. Thus preserved, Mimir's head continued to give indispensable advice to Odin in times of need. The two tribes were still weary of fighting a war that was so unevenly matched, however. Rather than renewing their hostilities over the tragic misunderstanding, each of the Aesir and Vanir came together and spat into a cauldron. From their saliva they created Kvasir, the wisest of all beings, as a way of pledging sustained harmony. Like this story from Norse mythology? Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more such videos.